On the news, 6 months 10th National Assembly, correspondents examine journey so far. State governors sign 2024 appropriation to meet January-December budget circle.
There are a lot of things we are putting in place to ensure that we have internally generated revenue update.
Plus, Power Minister unveils quick wins for the sector in 2024.
The states may establish the legal, regulatory and commercial frameworks for their domestic electricity markets.
Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I'm Amina Saidu. Senate in the last 6 months exercised its constitutional duties to ensure smooth running of government and delivery of good governance to citizens. The recent is a consideration of the 2024 appropriation bill, which is the third money bill given expeditious consideration by the Senate. The first being the amendment of the 2022 supplementary budget that made provisions for palliatives to cushion the effect of full subsidy removal. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali brings us some highlights in 2023.
This bill is now read for the third time and passed.
Call it the icing on the cake of activities in the last 6 months of lawmakers in the Red Chamber. Nigeria's 2024 money bill, laid before a joint session less than a month ago, has been passed in record time. This underscores the understanding of the legislature of the urgency of the Tinubu administration to deliver on its mandate. The 2024 appropriation bill is the third money bill given expeditious passage, the first being the amendment of the 2022 supplementary budget that made provisions for palliatives to cushion subsidy removal effects, and of course, the 2023 supplementary budget for the same purpose. Aside budget passage, the Senate, in line with its constitutional responsibilities, screened and confirmed ministers and other appointees of President Tinubu. The Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chiefs, heads of key government organs like the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, as well as their board members, were also screened and confirmed. And still counting, close to 200 appointees were confirmed in the last 6 months. Also in the period under review, some faces have disappeared in the Red Chamber, as some others got the appellation of distinguished after winning election cases at the appellate court, so leading to additions and subtractions with regards to number in representation by party affiliation. In another twist, the defection of Senator Anduba to the APC led to the elimination of the Young Progressives Party from the Red Chamber. As the Senate embarks on Christmas and New Year festivities, the lawmakers are willing to resume in 2024 to face some issues on the table. Top on the list include amendments to the Constitution and the Electoral Act to further engender democracy and good governance.
What brought me to Abuja was transformational leadership. We will transform the laws of Nigeria. We will reform those things that we can reform for Nigeria to work.
In order to contribute to the effort of the Senate and the entire Nigeria towards giving Nigerians the best, leading to the transformation of our dear country in line with the New Hope agenda.
We are going to sharpen our oversight this time around. We are going to ensure that all the ministries, all the departments, all the agencies that have anything to do with appropriation of Nigerian naira and kobo,
without giving local government their desired and required autonomy in all ramifications, we will only be dancing around the sphere.
We urge the critical stakeholders of this country, political leaders, civil society organizations, and security agencies to do more to move this country forward, collaborate with the 10th Assembly.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The unveiling of an 8-point legislative agenda of the 10th House of Representatives was a significant activity that shaped events in the House in the course of the year 2023. The legislative agenda serves as a guide for the House to focus on issues that truly affect the Nigerian people and in line with its quest to truly become the People's Parliament. Mitari Ekpen reviews the Green Chamber in 2023.
Right from inauguration, June 13, 2023, the leadership of the 10th House of Representatives resolved to develop a legislative agenda that resonates with the yearnings of Nigerians.
The 10th House shall sustain and even surpass the gains of the 9th Assembly. That's my prayer.
The Green Chamber's determination to function as a people's house and operate an open parliament reflected in the hundreds of motions adopted and bills passed in the year under review.
You take the audit bill, for example. It's a good one for our country. The last one we had was in 1956, the audit ordinance. And you can imagine who wrote that. But now, passing that bill, we are now bringing it into effect.
Unveiling an 8-point legislative agenda, the presiding officers of the National Assembly described the document as a legislative compass for greater citizens' engagement.
So the challenge facing the 10th National Assembly, both chambers today, is that we must perform better. All committees are requested to integrate the agenda to their respective work plans.
The sectoral debate of the House, which featured the service chiefs, was another legislative activity that shaped 2023.
It is prioritized in our legislative agenda that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. We're here not to reprimand, but to understand you better.
The National Assembly should initiate a bill for legislation that will cater for extra budgetary allocation for the armed forces and police.
What have you done to leverage on the experience and knowledge of our retired personnel?
The manpower in the police today is grossly inadequate. Even the criminals know that.
In the course of the year, the leadership of the House mediated in industrial actions by resident doctors and organized labor, facilitating quick and early resolutions of disputes. Traditionally, the House hosted the first budget presentation of the Tinubu administration, describing it as homecoming for the president.
We commend you for your courageous and determined leadership.
A citizens' town hall meeting for Nigerians to discuss the 2024 budget and a capacity-building retreat for chairmen and deputies of standing committees attracted high rating for the 10th House of Representatives.
The House will review the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 to strengthen existing provisions.
We're kind of having that now for the first time in the last 3 years, which is for us a commendable feat.
After 1 month of scrutiny, the House at the Committee on Supply passed the appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion naira.
Bill read for the third time and passed.
The House also approved President Tinubu's request for securitization of 7.3 trillion naira ways and means. After an eventful year, lawmakers say they are energized for legislative business in 2024.
More bills and motions that will support the executive to do more.
Members are on a high spirit, and we are going to enter the 2024 legislative year, that is calendar year, with very strong impetus and strong spirit. And I see the House National Assembly, becoming a more friendlier, becoming a house that Nigerians will be proud of.
The House of Representatives is upbeat to legislate better in the new year, and if the enthusiasm of lawmakers is anything to go by, then Nigerians should expect a more vibrant House in 2024. From the National Assembly, Mitari Ekpen, NTA News.
An appropriation bill of 849.97 billion naira christened the Arise Budget for Growth and Expansion has received executive assent for the 2024 fiscal year in Akwa Ibom State. Kelvin Samuel reports that the budget signed into law was passed by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Moen, while signing the bill into law during an expanded Executive Council meeting, stresses the need to pay greater attention to revenue generation in the 2024 fiscal year. He commends the state legislature for their speedy consideration of the bill and working in synergy with relevant departments of the executive arm to ensure timely passage. He assures that his administration is working hard to improve the internally generated revenues in the state.
There's no point having a budget this big and then the revenue is not commensurate. So we ask that the Ministry of Finance, the Board of Internal Revenue, in the days ahead will be holding a lot of meetings. I heard the Board of Internal Revenue Chief Executive say he's targeting 60 billion next year, and they were clapping. And I don't think that's my target. So we need to really talk. There are a lot of things we are putting in place to ensure that we have internally generated revenue updated.
Earlier, the Commissioner for Finance Linus Nkan put into perspective an overview of the budget.
Capital expenditure, the proposed provision submitted was 492.7 billion, whereas 1.8 billion was augmented, and that brought a total of 490.9 billion for capital expenditure, and that is 58% of the total budget.
The final budget size of 849.970 billion naira signed into law indicates an augmentation of 4.3 billion naira from the original sum of 845.632 billion naira presented by the governor on the floor of the House on 21st November 2023. From the Government House, Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
Nigeria for some time now has been following the January to December budget cycle adopted by the federal government. As a follow-up to this, the National Assembly on the 30th of December 2023 passed the 2024 appropriations, and President Bola Tinubu signed it into law, thereby keeping to this budget cycle. Similarly, some states are also adopting this policy, just like the governor of Akwa Ibom State, who has signed the state appropriations. Joining us to discuss this policy is a development consultant and a public analyst, Jide Oju. You're welcome to NTA Parliamentary News.
It's my pleasure.
Now, what is the special thing about this January to December budget cycle policy in Nigeria?
January to December budget cycle did not start with President Muhammadu Buhari, although it was it predates his administration, but he was the one that consciously returned the country back to January to December. If you recall, military administrators, read the budget, on the same day as the new year begins and it runs. But it's a culture that helps the financial system and the planning for the year. Don't forget there are 4 quarters in every year, financial quarters. So you have quarter 1, January to March, quarter 2, April to June, quarter 3, July to August, September, and then quarter 4, October, November, December. So if you start your financial year in January, it helps. It makes the financial planning smooth and seamless. And this is also something that was copied from the corporate organizations. All the corporate organizations always plan based on January to December financial year. So it's a welcome development, and it helps, like I said, with smooth financial planning for the year.
How effective has it been at the national, state, and local government levels?
Unfortunately, while the federal government has made this article of faith, starting with the administration of immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari, states are still not fully involved. And there is also something I need to flag, which is Financial Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. It actually stated that budget should be submitted to the National Assembly not later than 90 days to the end of the year. So, you know, it could be in August, it could be in September, but not later than October, so that the National Assembly can work assiduously on the budget for minimum of 3 months period. This has not been fully complied with. Even the 2024 budget we are celebrating was not submitted to the National Assembly until November 29, 2023. And that's why, you know, the National Assembly has to do a hurry job, given the fact that it has just barely 1 month within which to pass the budget and submit to the President for his assent. At the state level, many state governments are complying, but the quality of work, the quality of scrutiny that the State Assembly are having on the budget is suspect, because many of them just pass the budget the way the executive arm, the governor, has submitted to them without even changing anything. If I thought they change anything, it's maybe just to increase their own budget for the year. So this is not healthy. This is not just, budgeting should not be a mere routine or hollow ritual. Just let's pass it. Yes, it is true that budget is an estimate. It's a financial estimate made up of the expenditure and the revenue framework. And as we say in economics, ceteris paribus, all things being equal. But in reality, in real terms, all things are never equal. So even when you have the budget estimate submitted to the National or State Assembly, you still would depend on things working perfectly, harmoniously, in terms of revenue expected, in terms of expenditure to be made.
How can we make this policy effective and efficient in Nigeria?
Budget is a law. It's an appropriation law. It's not a policy. It is a law. That's why the president or the governor of a state or the chairman of a local government will submit it to the legislative arm for further scrutiny, for alteration. Take, for instance, the budget of the federal government. When it was submitted on November 29, 2023, it was 7.5 trillion, 27.5 trillion. But when the National Assembly worked on it and passed it on December 30, they have raised it to 28.77 trillion. So it then means that we should know that any violation of the budget is a violation of the law. And if we know that law is sacrosanct, we need to abide by the words and the spirit of this appropriation law, whether at the federal, state, or local government.
Mr. Jide Ojo, thank you very much for coming to NTA Parliamentary News.
It's my pleasure.
We now go on a short break. When we return, federal government's new deal in the power sector. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for a short channel to make your business, goods and services go viral? Look no further, as NTA Parliament is your short channel. Take advantage of our wider reach and advertise your products and services on NTA Parliament DSTV channel 370, GoTV channel 126, StarTimes channel 306, and Free TV channel 706. For more inquiries, contact the marketing department, NTA Parliament, NTA Headquarters Area 11 Garki Abuja, or call these numbers 080-383-40464 or 080-770-78055. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Welcome back. There is a renewed drive to accelerate delivery of reforms that will improve electricity supply nationwide, as Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu unveils quick wins for the sector this year. Joshua Ojito takes a look at priority areas and how they will turn around the sector.
2024, a new year with hopes for improved electricity supply as the Power Minister unveils turnaround agenda for the sector. From the boardroom to the power substations, the Power Minister says the objective is to achieve sufficient electricity supply nationwide. To ensure customers pay only for electricity consumed, a review of cost-reflective tariff is underway as federal government says subsidy for the vulnerable customers will be sustained. Closing the metering gap will be given attention to address liquidity crisis in the sector as well as ensure every customer is metered. To strengthen transmission infrastructure, federal government is accelerating implementation of Presidential Power Initiative to speed up completion of Siemens project.
The equipment are beginning to arrive. At the same time that work is going on in transmission, work is also going on in the distribution. So those weaknesses, the deficiencies, will now be reaped or harvested same time.
Not just increasing the reforms in the regulatory aspect, the federal government is also taking measures to do some in-house cleansing. To this end, the Transmission Company of Nigeria is to be unbundled, while regional grids will be established for effective management of the grid.
The Electricity Act 2023 now allows, in line with the 1999 Constitution as amended, that states may establish the legal, regulatory and commercial frameworks for their domestic electricity markets.
Ensuring every power plant generates at full installed capacity is what federal government targets with investment in off-grid and renewable energy. On energy theft and vandalization of power infrastructure, a joint support team will be constituted in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor to address the menace. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Nigerians say while President Bola Tinubu's New Year message to the country presents hope for a better Nigeria, it is their wish that there will be an efficient implementation of these promises. Edidion Iba reports.
President Bola Tinubu's New Year message hinges on a more rewarding year with his renewed hope agenda to uplift Nigerians, from strengthening power installations in order to optimize the national grid, restarting of local refineries, ensuring constant food supply through the cultivation of 500,000 hectares of farmland across the country, provision of enabling business environment to woo investors, to a new living wage for workers. Respondents say Nigerians should be prepared for an economic boom. However, while some Nigerians applaud the plans by the president, others say it is time to walk the talk through the implementation of these promises.
Policy matters is a matter of time for the implementation. So he means well.
We believe with what he said about agriculture, it's high time that everybody as Nigerians begin to think about and adopt that system if the president has said so.
The economy is really biting, and even in the spirit of the new year, you want to change the narrative, you will appreciate him.
To work on how to make life better for common men.
They speak of other areas that they require the president's attention.
The president must rise up as the number one citizen of this country to make sure that these investors that are coming in, they are safe. Their finances are safe.
In Uyo, Edidion Iba, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, is assuring the public that there is no imminent increase in the cost of premium motor spirit, PMS, commonly known as petrol. NNPC Limited urges Nigerians to disregard what it calls unfounded rumors and assures that there are no plans for an upward review of the petrol price. A statement by Olufemi Soneye, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, advised motorists nationwide against engaging in panic buying, reiterating that there is presently ample availability of PMS across the country. In another development, community engagement initiatives of the Nigerian Television Authority is growing from strength to strength as NTA Sokoto Network Center organized a maiden dinner and award night in honor of the government and people of the state for their hospitality and contributions to the state. Asmao Habibu Shagari reports.
That was the mood at the maiden dinner and awards night organized by NTA Sokoto Network Center to recognize some personalities for their various contributions to humanity and NTA in particular. Governor Ahmad Ali Sokoto, represented by his deputy Idris Gobir, was honored with the Best 100 Days Achievement Award project. The deputy governor lauded management and staff of the center for identifying with the efforts of the state administration in providing more dividends of democracy to the people, describing the award as not belonging to the governor alone, but the entire people of Sokoto State.
We will make sure that we put our best to assist Nigerian Television Authority NTA Sokoto.
The former Director General, National Broadcasting Commission and APC stalwart Dr. Nasir Allah Dibako, former Executive Director Programs Malam Bello Sile, and former Zonal Director Sokoto Network Center Bello Abubakar were among the awardees in the Veterans category for the roles they played in shaping the media industry in Nigeria.
I feel a great honor, and I'm very grateful to Almighty Allah, but most importantly, the foundation of all those that trained me, starting from Alhaji Adamogi, Kere Ahmed, Peter Igo, and a host of all those that influenced my growth and my development.
We sincerely appreciate them because, if somebody has done well, there's need for you to appreciate him one with the other.
Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Most Reverend Matthew Hassan Kuka, was among the prominent personalities honored for his contribution towards ensuring peaceful coexistence among people in the state. Clients of the center and stations, as well as some deserving past and serving staff from the Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara NTA stations, were rewarded for their meritorious service to the organization. In Sokoto, Asmao Habibu Shagari, NTA News.
And that's it on the news this evening, but you can still watch our news and other programs on our social media handles scrolling on your screen. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening. I'm Amina Saidu.